April here. Welcome to another episode of UNAWA, our online conversational series that comes from the Filipino word that means to understand. We want to encourage Filipino youth and families to find common ground and understanding with each other and aid in the normalization of mental health in the Filipino community. Now, before we begin, we wish to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 6 territory and a traditional meeting ground and home for many Indigenous people, including Cree, Saulteaux, Niestapi, Blackfoot, Métis, and Nakota Sioux. Now today, it's a pleasure to have Kerby Soco here with us. Hi, Kerby.
Hey, it's awesome to be here. Hey, April.
Hi. So today we'll be talking about kind of your experience with COVID fatigue, how everything kind of played out as a student in university. But first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Awesome. So as April said, my name is Kerby Soco. I'm going into my 4th year of a Bachelor of Science, a specialization in psychology at the University of Alberta. I'm part of the Philsa, Filipino Students Association. I'm the events director there. So yeah, and I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome. So, I mean, now that the restrictions are kind of being lifted and everything, we can kind of laugh at some of the things that we did during the pandemic. I know I went on the Dalgona coffee trend and everything. Did you try any of the trends?
You know what? I went on a crazy trend, like everything that I saw on TikTok, I wanted to try it out. I even did a little bit of home workout stuff.
Yeah.
I was really big into going to the gym, and then all of a sudden the gym's closed. I was like, I'm gonna get on the home workout for like a couple of months. But yeah, it everything that I saw on social media, and I thought it was everything that was new. I was like, I was trying to keep myself active in that.
That's awesome. Is there any one hobby, like besides working out, that you picked up during the pandemic?
I think I picked up cooking a lot. I started to cook more, and I wasn't a very good cook, especially going into university where I had to learn everything. But you know, having social media right there, I was like, well, I might as well do that. So I got into cooking a little bit. I don't know if I would say I'm an expert at it. It's okay. It's up there.
Okay, what's your specialty now though?
My specialty. Oh, that's a tough thing. I can make great spaghetti. I saw a great spaghetti. There was this one meal. I forgot what it's called, but it was something. I forgot what it's called, but I saw it online and I tried it out. It was really great. It was like a pie of some sort.
Oh my gosh, yum.
I know, like, I started baking too. So
yeah. I know everyone baked and dropped stuff off, right? Like that's what my family did.
Yeah,
they baked and dropped things off.
Banana bread. I can definitely do banana
bread. Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
So, like I tried to play the guitar. I tried to pick up an instrument. I was like, I didn't know how long the quarantine was going to be, so maybe if I pick up an instrument that will help speed things by. So I'm not very great at it, but it's okay.
Hey, it sounds like you had like a really well-rounded experience. You just didn't just sit around. You actually like did so many things, cooking, working out, all that. That's awesome. But when you first heard about COVID, like how long did you actually think it would last?
You know, everything was when I first heard about COVID, I had a midterm the next day and everything shut down. And I didn't know what was going on. I thought, you know what, this is just going to be like a couple of months, or I mean, even it was just going to be a couple of weeks. And then the school closed. We were forced to be home. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then it finally hit me when a lot like the news came in and a lot of people were getting sick and everything was shutting down. And when I realized like this can be longer than I expected, because I thought it was just going to be weeks maybe, or like a couple of months or something, or even just the school year. I never would have expected that my whole 3rd year was going to be online. I never expected that I would be home for my entire 3rd year of university. And it was really tough. And I was just, no one was expecting. I wasn't expecting it. and nothing could have prepared me for what was ahead.
Yeah. Do you remember your first reaction, like when restrictions were first announced?
I thought it was fantastic because I was thinking to myself, I didn't have to do my midterms anymore.
Yeah.
Woo! I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
All my classes are pass fail. I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
finals anymore. I was just living it up. And then I went home and I was realized, like, wait a minute, it's not stopping. COVID is not ending. And you know what? Like, after that high, obviously I was happy in terms of my schooling because I was naive to think, like, for myself, just like, oh, this is fantastic for me. But it was scary because we didn't know anything about it, and it just came out of all of a sudden. It was a scary feeling. In the pits of my stomach, I was thinking, am I gonna have to end, like, I'm gonna spend my entire 2 years, the rest of my 2 years for my degree online? Like, that was the scariest thing for me because I'm a very social type of person. And as much as online school has its perks, I love being on campus. I love to see people. I miss seeing my friends, right? I love doing and exploring and doing all these kinds. I'm a very active type of person, and putting myself in front of a screen at 8 hours a day is something that I could have never imagined doing, especially in my university career. So
yeah. And so how did you feel that affected your mental health or your overall well-being once it sunk in that this is here to stay?
That was probably the toughest parts of dealing with this whole thing. Is not only was I scared of, obviously, hearing about it and seeing everybody get sick, and all of a sudden, and the anxiousness that you feel that every time I go outside, I can potentially get sick, right? And you don't know what to expect. And then when online school started, everything just becomes a blur. You know what I mean? For me, that is like, I would wake up in the morning and my desk is right beside my bed, right? So I would get off bed, go into my classes, sit here for 8 hours, do some homework, and then go right back to bed, right? So days just became, there's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? It just became a continuous span of just every day's the same. I had no weekends because my weekends are pretty much, I'm just doing school, right? They give me the work. Might as well do the work because I'm already at home.
Yeah.
I'm already at home for, we can't leave our house because we're quarantined. So, my mental health definitely took a toll. And that was probably the toughest things, was having the motivation to do something and telling myself I need to stay active, or keeping myself on a schedule, because I still had some responsibilities in my other clubs. I still had responsibilities as a student. But when that is taken away from you and you're at home 24/7, right? 24/7, and every day just becomes a blur. Everything just becomes, I'm going to work and then I'm going to sleep. I'm going to work and I'm going to sleep. And the motivation just slowly dwindles. Right? You're anxious from the whole pandemic issue, that your motivation just dissipates. I'm not, at the beginning, I was very active and I was very, I'm going to get onto this TikTok trends. I'm going to teach myself to bake, but I won't lie when I say there's times when I didn't do that. The one that I stopped working out at home because I was thinking, why should I? I stopped baking, like, it wasn't until I took a break from it and I was like, you can only make banana bread so many times before you're like, I was sick of it,
Yeah.
So, and as a very social type of person, not seeing my friends and not talking, I mean, I love my family to bits. I really do. But just being with my family 24/7 and then not seeing my friends, getting a break, it's demanding. It's quite demanding. So it wasn't too great, I would say. I definitely had a quick dip at some point in the pandemic. So
and so, like, how did you adjust, or like what kept you going after that dip? Do you find that you just kind of stayed there, or did you like feel burnt out and just stayed at that point, or did you like, how did you adjust to it?
Right. So I was definitely burnt out. When I started online school, I thought to myself, I'm gonna get everything done quite really quickly. I'm just gonna not worry about anything and just focus on my school. Great opportunity, right? No distraction. I was burnt out because I took in more things than I could handle. Then I started joining more clubs, and I started taking, oh yeah, I can do that, or oh yeah, I can take that responsibility. I think, I realized to myself, I needed to change. When I hit that low point during the pandemic, I noticed that I needed to change everything. I told myself I can't keep living like this, and I can't keep doing the same things over again and expecting things to change. So I made the effort to change, but it was in small increments. I think that what helped me the most was making sure that I had a schedule, right? I think it's easy for a lot of us to just go with the flow, but you got to put yourself in a schedule and say, I'm only going to do schoolwork until these amounts of time. Outside of this time is my personal time for myself. I'm gonna go read, or I'm gonna go learn the guitar, or I'm gonna go bake or whatever. But once I finally stopped saying to myself, I'm gonna just 24/7 just do school, or I'm just gonna do school at Saturday or at Sunday, might as well get ahead. I think I started, I started feeling better about myself. My days meant something when I told myself that I needed to be on a schedule. I think that's the most important thing. And I think, especially now, I look back on it and I realize, not doing the same things over and over again, spicing things up. I know it's very hard to say, like, I'm gonna do something different every single day when you're at home.
Yeah.
But really reaching out and saying, instead of banana bread, I'm gonna make something else.
Yeah.
But,
like spaghetti.
I'm gonna make spaghetti, right? So I think really reaching out and it's helpful to me that I had my family here the whole time to go through it. I wasn't necessarily alone. I had my brothers here, and it was great. But definitely, like, once you hit that cabin fever, it's important that you start changing something about your lifestyle. And I never usually I was a very go with the flow type of person, that I'm gonna do whatever that I need to do. But when the pandemic hit, I definitely made a schedule that I tried to stick by. And I told myself I'm not gonna take any meetings, I'm not gonna take anything school related at certain times, because like, as much as like how weird it is to say, like, me time is very important. Doing nothing and just doing something that you genuinely enjoy is crazy important for, and it's kind of hard to believe that, like, for me, like, I can do me time but like doing work. But like, I went and played video games, or I picked up a hobby, or I watched TV. We just got a dog this year, and
Nice.
yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna go take my dog out for a walk, right? So just those little things really make a difference, I feel, and it's what made a difference for me and how I got through it.
Yeah. So that's a trend, a lot of people bought dogs during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Which is so interesting. What kind of dog did you get? I'm just curious.
I have a Maltese Shih Tzu. And I feel like I am not the only one who got a dog. I think that is true. When we were like looking for a dog, there was no dogs, because everybody was getting one. So
yeah.
But yeah, I love her to bits.
That's awesome. And so, like, I know we touched on Zoom classes and how you're sitting there for 8 hours and like taking all these courses, but what, if anything, did you like about them, and what did you absolutely hate?
I love the fact that I got to do it on my own time. A lot of my classes were asynchronous, and it helped for somebody who was, when near the end of it, when I got to work, it helped with me working, right? Or it helped with taking it in my own time, where I wasn't waking up so early for like my 8 a.m. for example. I can do it at 9 or something, and I can do it
Yeah.
within my own schedule. I think that I love that portion of it. I don't like the part. A lot of the things that I don't like about it is, you're looking through someone through a screen, and it's really hard to bond with people as much as like you want to when you're in breakout rooms and things like that. I feel like a lot of the time I'm not the only victim to it. Was when I was in breakout rooms, nobody would turn on the cameras just in general. No one would talk. It's just that weird awkwardness, right? And
Yeah.
that nobody really enjoys. So it's really hard to bond with people through a camera, because I think the little things that we don't really appreciate, that was taken away from, that I guess I didn't appreciate as much when it was taken away from me, was, you know, being able to sit beside a person, and then getting to know them, a random person, getting to know them, and then suddenly become your buddies. Because then after the class, like, hey, let's go to the library, let's study together. Or hey, let's go have lunch together. You can't do that in an online. And as much as we tried, I had clubs that tried to like we had mingling events and friend events, like for people to meet each other. It's so hard to do that online, because right, like you don't have to put on your camera, or you don't have to talk, or you don't you don't, once the event is over, you just close your computer and then you're done, right? There's no incentive for you to like make connections, and I feel like university, a large part of it is these connections, right? And for me, that is that was the part that took a toll on me, like both in mentally, like it's hard for me to make connections, and hard for me to build relationships when I'm not talking to them, and then having those after school, those little things that I enjoyed, that after school, after class kind of things, that I got to go out with them, or walking with your buddy to the lecture rooms. Like, I mean, that's so minuscule that we don't even appreciate when we were in classes. But for me, like, that meant the fact that I was going to walk to my lecture class instead of just like rolling over from my bed and opening my computer and then joining the Zoom call, is like those little things that really make a difference, that I absolutely loved. And I missed when we went to the Zoom call. So I wasn't really a big fan of it. And it was just really hard for you to stand out. You were just, another number in a 400 Zoom call, 400 participant Zoom call. You're just another person joining in, right? And that's how it felt. But I mean, I love the fact that I got to do it on my own time. Most of my classes were open book. I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily easier, but that was always a great thing. But I would trade it all. I would give that all back for those opportunities, because
yeah, definitely. We just, losing that human contact.
Oh yeah.
It really shone a light that we need it.
Oh yeah. I think it's, well, I mean, a lot of when I was going into university, I just thought to myself, I'm there for school, right? I'm going to do my best at school, and that's all I'm going to care about. I don't care about, going out or making friends or whatever. But as going into my 4th year and finishing, I have a whole different perspective on it. University is all about making these new connections, making new experiences, building relationships. School, yes, is a big part of it. Obviously, we're all there to study and to be better for ourselves and for our futures. But, the little things that you do, the connections that you make, are everlasting. I mean, I have first year friends that I met in my first year, and I'm still friends with them till this day, right? So these connections, these relationships, I mean, obviously making these connections is so important, especially now that I'm graduating, like making connections when it comes to the real world and you're getting a job, right? It's a huge deal. And I think it's not something to look past on. I think it's something so important to consider. And it's just not something that you're going to get through a Zoom call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that you need to build on and then develop. And it's like that's why I was part of Week of Welcome, and I look at these first years who are having these, who have no choice to have from grade 12, they come into first years, and they come into it their first year as Zoom calls, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to build those relationships. You don't know what to expect. And now you're coming into your second year and you don't know what to expect of university, right? Because you didn't really get the experience.
No.
It's
Yeah.
really hard to do that, I think. And I think it's interesting to me how this coming fall is gonna be. When you have these second years who are pretty much first years, and you have these new first years, so you have 2 years, two different class years that are coming in with no expectations of what it is. It's a good thing and a bad thing, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. But with all of these, I mean, there were some good things or some bad things, but is there anything that you're thankful for because the pandemic happened, like any realizations or, epiphanies that happened during the pandemic that you said, like maybe I am thankful that it happened?
I mean, it's hard for me to say that I'm very thankful for the pandemic. Obviously, it's a worldwide crisis that affected a lot of people's lives, and some affected their whole lifetime, right?
Yes.
But I do appreciate, and I think I appreciate more, is how brave people are, the empathy of people. During a time of crisis when everybody is we don't know what to expect. Having frontline workers there that would give their everyday, right, to be out there to risk their lives for us while I'm here sitting at home, doing on the computer. It's the empathy of people, the fact that people will come together and show their kindness and band one another to help each other out. Especially in my community, if it we didn't ignore people. We realize we're all in this together, and we decide to do that. My professors are so helpful when it came to it. They're so understanding when it came to it, that if we needed extra help, they're always there, right? Giving their time and effort, learning this new environment, the computer environment. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not an expert on Zoom, but I imagine some older professors who don't know anything about Zoom, and then all of a sudden have to shift their curriculum. It's amazing. To me, I am amazed more of the people. I feel like bringing something as a crisis like the pandemic just brought more people together. And you can see that from the frontline workers, from the little things that your professor would do, or a friend would do, and just the simple thoughts and prayers that people give out. It's hard for me to see it, when in person, when they're all gone there. But if you go on social media, you see these thoughts and prayers that people, for when people are sick, and the people that sacrifice so much, the small businesses that were hit, especially in our community, in my community, no one hesitated to come and help them. That's just beautiful to me.
Yes.
I think that's the only thing that I could be thankful about, is seeing the humanity side, the kindness of the humanity side, that I didn't maybe necessarily see so much when before the pandemic. But I mean, there's some good sides and some bad sides, but I think bringing people closer together, I think that was pretty much the bigger part of it that I can see.
Yeah, exactly. I think people adapted, and they had to adapt so quickly.
Oh yeah.
It's like one day it was normal, and the next it was,
all of a sudden, exactly, right? I mean, it affected people's lives. I mean, and like it hurts my heart to see like these businesses shut down because of the pandemic, and they have no choice, right? And that's why I would love to help. I would reach out and to these small businesses and try to help as much as we can. And I think that's all we can do as people, as our communities, um,
Yes.
is to reach out and to do the best from something that's such a sucky position.
Yes, exactly. And well, now that, you know, September is coming up
Yeah.
and school is going to start again, restrictions are lifted. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I don't even know
What,
how to do it.
yeah, like what's going to feel weird for you after everything goes back to normal? I mean, it already kind of has. Like, is there anything that you've done that was normal before and you were like, whoa, this feels weird?
I guarantee you, when mask mandates were gone, going to stores without a mask was the weirdest feeling for me. I don't know. I don't. I even um, when I went to the store, I forgot my mask. I went back to my car, brought out my mask, and I entered the store, and no one was wearing a mask. And I'm like, oh my god! I was like,
Yeah.
what is going on
Yeah.
here? That was the craziest for me.
Mhm.
But like slowly, like there's no mask mandates anymore. I feel like that's such a weird feeling. Being so close to people again. I don't know how I feel about handshaking still. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I would not even hesitate. I wouldn't even like think for a second
No.
before the
Yeah.
pandemic to shake someone's hand or give them a hug. But like
Yeah.
now it's like, do I do I give them a handshake? Are they okay with that? Would they not want to shake my hand? Or like, do I want to
Yeah.
shake their hand?
I
That
know.
I feel like that's the biggest parts. And then and being close to people again. Like
Mhm.
after being in a year of being isolated and then seeing people and being close to them, like I don't know. I'm still slowly, things are normal nowadays, so I'm slowly still getting used to it.
Mhm.
Um, you know, going to the store without a mask all of a sudden, like it's still weird to me. Like I feel like I should, but then I feel like people are shunning me because I am wearing a mask. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like those are the weird things that I'm still trying to get used to. I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to like being in a close proximity anymore. I think that's gone. I
Mhm.
think I think being like in close proximity is just like I'm still gonna be a little anxious about it. I'll get to the point where I'll be okay with it, but
Yeah. No, I totally hear you. Like, I'm like, should I wear a mask? Should I not? Is that normal? Is that
yeah.
not? Am I not? Like, is it gonna be weird that I'm not wearing it, or is it weird that they're not wearing it? I have no idea. So I'm like, do I throw these away or do I keep them? I
Yeah.
don't know, right? And the
No,
thing is,
no.
like, yeah, and we don't know. And I was wondering, like, are you worried at all about another wave, like with the Delta variant,
You
or
know,
how do you feel about that?
in my opinion, obviously, I totally trust our experts. I mean, whatever they chose, and those higher ups that are put in that position to make those decisions, I definitely trust them. Um, it is concerning to see, and I talk about it a lot with people um, in my workplace and my friends, and it's concerning
Mhm.
of the Delta variant that you see on the news, obviously. But like I said, do I think that another outbreak might happen? I mean, who knows, right? Like we everything is opening up, and I feel like most of the people that I've talked to are surprised by everything opening up so soon.
Mhm.
We're not really expecting that all of a sudden there's no mask mandates. All of a sudden there's no more isolation. You don't need to isolate anymore. You don't need
Mhm.
to get swab tests. Um, but I think it is healthy for us to be back to some normalcy. I think it is healthy for everything to back. I mean, businesses obviously it's healthy for them to get some normalcy, and I think
Mhm.
COVID will never leave us. I don't think we are gonna expect one day to say there's no more COVID. I feel like it's gonna be something like the flu, where it's still there, but we're gonna be concerned about it. It's nice to have some normalcy, and I definitely trust those that are in those positions to make their decisions. I have my opinions about it is that I am happy that we are to where we are. And I feel like it was a lot of hard work and a lot of, you know, the vaccines that helped. You know, I'm a believer of the vaccine, and I believe that getting that and getting back to some normalcy is as healthy for us. So
Yeah.
I'm still a little like, you know, on my toes when I'm going outside, but
Yes.
I mean, that's
Same.
like what to expect, right? Like you, with the whole Delta thing, I mean, my parents are concerned, but I mean, I still trust that, you know, we wouldn't be back. I wouldn't be back to classes if it was a concern that to that degree, I would
Yeah.
think. So, you know, as long as they say, and I'll follow whatever it is. You know, if we have to get another shot because of the Delta variant, sure. If we
Yeah.
have to go on back to isolation, then we'll have to go to an isolation. But I feel like the doctors, the medical professionals, those who make the decisions, if they say that it's safe and, you know, there's low chances, then I say we get back to normalcy. Let's get back to the way things are, and I feel that's helpful for everybody in general.
Yeah. And on that note, like, you know, many students are going to go back in person classes in the fall. What do you think your advice is for them, especially the ones that are just coming in to university?
You know what? Being now in my 4th year, and then being a mentor during my time in university, I always say the same things to new coming students, and I stress this enough even now, is that now is the time more than ever to build on relationships, to try out new things, you know, especially those like the second years that are coming in who are first time on campus. I feel like you should definitely take this opportunity now more than ever to, you know, make friends and build those relationships. Don't be scared to be when you're in your lecture hall, to look beside you to a random person and just say hi. You know, I've met some of my friends doing that, and they would just say hi to me, or I would just say hi to them, and all of a sudden we're going for coffee after class, and they help me throughout my classes, right?
Yeah.
I think now more than ever, like, you should not, like, obviously there's some people who are very scared of social interactions. I am one of those people. I'm not the type of person to reach out and talk to you, or reach out, but, you know, making an effort to just say hi, you know, understanding that they're probably new too. You know, you have now 2 class years, first and second years, who have never been to campus, who probably, some of them moving in from outside of the city, who don't have a group of friends that, you know, just saying hi will probably give you a new friend group, right?
Yeah.
I think it's now more than ever that don't build a wall. Try out new experiences, try out these clubs. You know, it's great that they're bringing the clubs fair back for University of Alberta. If you're a University of Alberta student, I think you should definitely try out as many clubs as you can, even outside of University of Alberta. Every school you should try out. There's always a club that you will definitely click to. There's a club for everybody, and I think you should definitely get into that and build those connections, make up for the lost time, you know, that we've had.
Yeah.
And just don't be scared. I think there's a lot of anxiety with the whole, I've never been to campus, what am I going to expect? You know, the realities are, you're not the only one. You know, there's probably thousands of students who feel the same exact thing. I've never been to campus, what do I do? And there's seniors that are like us that, you know, would love to help you, would love to branch out and guide you through this. So, I mean, even for me, coming back to classes this fall, I feel like a new student because I haven't seen the campus in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I am going to be in the same boat, whether you're first year, second year, you've never been to campus, even as a 4th year, 3rd year student who experienced campus life, we're coming back in. We haven't seen the campus in so long. We're going through the same exact thing. So I think as a student, the big takeaway, you should never be scared. Don't be scared. You should branch out, reach out, build these relationships, make up for the lost time that you have, and enjoy as much as possible your career there in university. Because now more than ever, we've made it to this point, right? And this is our big reward. Don't just take school for granted. Don't take going to classes with your buddies for granted. Don't take the little library discussions you have, and getting coffee and having lunch out in the at the quad. You know, these little things that we don't necessarily appreciate when we were students, when we were there. Don't take them for granted. Do it every single day. Have a goal in your mind and do the most that you can, because I feel like I personally, I miss being in the library. I miss walking the quad. I miss seeing the faces of people. And as a new student, I understand that there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of anxiousness coming into the school year. Don't be, because 9 times out of 10 everybody else is. So then there's nothing to be anxious about, right? Reach out. I reach out not only to, you know, whatever that you love, and enjoy your experience.
Yeah. And do you, Kerby, have any advice on how to find supports on campus, or how to like finding a community on campus? Because a lot of people are coming in, they're like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, reach out where? Or like, where do I find these supports? And like, you know, even to yourself, like, obviously people are not going to be like calling your phone being like, yo, Kerby, I'm kind of worried, so help me. But like, how do you find these supports on campus?
I would say, if you're, first of all, if you're needing any kind of mental support or anything like that, every school has their own support system. I know for University of Alberta, we have the peer tutors. Not peer tutors, the peer talks. And we have our clinic. So definitely give them a call, right? There's always resources there. And the university is very cognizant into making sure that that is available for all of the students. So I definitely encourage everybody, whoever that needs it, should get the resources. If you're looking out for resources into clubs, best way to know is Clubs Fair, right? I'm not sure if other schools like McEwen or NAIT do Clubs Fair. I hope they do. I'm not 100% sure. I don't go there. But at University of Alberta, we have Clubs Fair, and that's the best way to find a club, you know.
And like, when does that happen? Or do they market it? Or
yeah, they'll market it, and usually it's the beginning of the first week, and you'll see it. People were the first week of schools is usually where Clubs Fair is, and you can't miss it because it's on the main quad. It's literally in the middle of the campus.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so find a club there that you like. And you know what? If you don't like a club and you don't find a club that you don't like, find a group of friends and start a club of your own. You know, a lot of the clubs that have been made, like most of those clubs are made just by a group of friends that decide like, we want to do this, right? If you are into something and you're passionate about it, find a group of individuals who feel the same way and start a club. You know, there's like the university is very supportive of that. So definitely reach out and do that. Clubs Fair, 100%. That's where I found Philsa. That's where Philsa took me in when I was just first year. Now,
awesome.
You know, and you don't even have to join a club, right? Like I said, reach out to people. Like reach out. Like if you're a new student and you're going into orientation, the people you were in a group with, or the people in your class, like these are the people in your class probably have the same mindset as you are, because you're in the same degree, you're taking the same classes, you're probably doing the same exact thing. You won't believe the types of how common the people that I get to meet, and I realize like we have the same goals. You know, we click right away. So, yeah. If you don't want to join a club, if you feel like that's too scary or too daunting, then definitely go out and reach out to your people in your classes. I think that's the best way. People in your labs and the groups that you're going to be with when you're in orientation week. Even I would say even people like studying. You know, I've seen people walk up to one another and they just like, hey, do you want to study together? Great. And then all of a sudden they start a studying group, right? But personally for me, I wasn't a very, oh hi, let's do something kind of person. If you saw me in campus, I probably wouldn't talk to you unless I knew you, right? But so for me, it really helped to join a club, right? I knew these people had the same mindset as I did. I knew these people, I at least had something in common with these people. Is that, you know, if my science club, I love science. I love everything STEAM related. I knew I'm gonna be with the same like-minded people. When I joined Philsa, you know, I'm passionate being a Filipino student in Edmonton and in Alberta, and I knew these people I would share the same values and the same commonalities. So it was very easy for me to meet people and make friends that way, because personally, I am not a very, it may seem like I'm a very outgoing and talkative person, but when I'm on campus, I know the feeling, right? When you're on campus and there's thousands of people all around you, hundreds of people all around you, and they don't want it's very hard to just go out of your way and expose yourself vulnerable to people, just say, hey, wanna talk, or you know what I mean? Like it's like it's still awkward for me. For me, it's like socially awkward. And I know like
so intimidating, right?
So intimidating, right? And I know if somebody did that to me, I wouldn't shun them away, but you don't know people, right? So it's so intimidating. So I'd say joining a club, go to your club's fair, go online. You'll in every in your school usually has a page where you can go see the clubs that are available in your school. So I think that's the best way to reach out.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. That's some great advice. I know that a lot of people are very anxious to get back on campus. It's already weird, like going into stores. I can't imagine students going back into campus after not seeing it for that period of time. But like you said, online, you can't really go up to someone and be like, hey, let's go for coffee, or hey, like it looks like, you know, do you like this class? Let's study together. And that is super exciting to now have that opportunity again. So just in closing here, Kerby, one thing that you've learned that you'll carry on into the future because of the pandemic?
Whew, that's very deep. And you know what? For me, the one thing that I learned, and I keep saying it to myself, is that I'll never take things for granted. Never taking those little small acts of kindness for granted. I will never, you know, think to myself that these are just like, oh, you know, whatever. Walking to classes, whatever. It's not a big deal. I wish I was just doing it in my dorm, you know. I will never take those for granted. I think the small little things that you do and making things unique each and every day, I think that's what I'm going to take from here on out from the pandemic. Because once that's taken away from you, you realize like, oh my gosh, I really miss studying in the library. Like it's studying, but like in the library instead of here is a big thing. So yeah, really branching out and doing different things is also something that I you know, I like to be doing the same things over and over again, but the monotony will bore you to death. So treat every day as if it's your last. That's what I always say. That's what I heard, and that's what I always say: is treat every day like it's your last. You know, enjoy every single experience that you do every single day, because you know you never know when it's gonna be taken away from you. Right? Those little things that, like getting a coffee before class, or going to class in general. You know, when you're sitting there in those lecture halls, it can be taken away from you. And with the pandemic, you can see that it could have, right? So definitely enjoy those, make those experience, and make the most of every single day, especially that your experience there in university.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Yay! Thanks for being with us, Kerby, and I really appreciate the insight that you gave for students coming into the fall and all of your experiences, personal experiences. Really grateful. So thank you for being on our episode. Again, this is April for UNAWA. Thank you for watching, and please also listen to us on Spotify. Thank you very much, Kerby.
Thank
See you.
you.